पहले कितने शायर आए और आकर चले गए, कुछ आहें भरकर लौट गए, कुछ नगमे गाकर चले गए। वो भी एक पल का किस्सा था, हम भी एक पल का किस्सा हैं। कल तुमसे जुदा हो जाएंगे, पर आज तुम्हारा हिस्सा है। Many poets, yes, came before us, and after coming departed. Some went filled with shies, some went singing songs. They were the story of a moment in time. We too are the story of a moment in time. Tomorrow we will be separated from you, but for today we are a part of you.
Wow.
And there was a poll done among lyricists and writers and music directors a couple of years back, and they to vote for the greatest Bollywood song ever, and one of Sahir's songs was picked up. I am not going to read that song, but I am going to read a song from the same film, Chitralekha. संसार से भागे फिरते हो, भगवान को तुम क्या पाओगे, इस लोक को भी अपना न सके, उस लोक में भी पछताओगे. You run away from worldly matters, how will you reach the Almighty? You couldn't accept this world your own, regret you will the heavens too. You couldn't accept this world your own, regret you will the heavens too. ये पाप है क्या, ये पुण्य है क्या? What is sin, what is virtue? रीतों पर धर्म के मोहरे हैं, markers of rituals on changing religions. So what is sin, what is virtue? Markers of rituals on changing religions. हर युग में बदलते धर्मों को कैसे आदर्श बनाओगे? These faiths which evolve in every era, how do you base our principles upon them? I mean, what a thought! Like, ये पाप है क्या, ये पुण्य है क्या? रीतों पर धर्म के मोहरे हैं, हर युग में बदलते धर्मों को कैसे आदर्श बनाओगे? These faiths which evolve in every era, how do you base your principles upon them? That's Sahib for you.
Purnedu Thakur got his love for poetry from an early age from his father, who despite being a miner, loved his Milton and Keshav Das much more than he loved mining the iron ores. Growing up in a small mining town in the state of Orissa, India, his first published poem was Man-Eating Tigers of Bastar, for a competition in Reader's Digest, inspired as much by numerous walks in the dense neighborhood forest as by William Blake's popular poem Tiger. He went on to brush shoulders with leading Hindi poets at various Kavi Sammelans organized in Calcutta during his college days in the 80s and 90s, both as General Secretary of the Hindi Literary Society of the St. Xavier's College and thereafter as a budding youth poet. He kept on writing poetry and participating in Poets' Meet, even as he qualified to be a chartered accountant and an MBA from Singapore. He has 2 published books of Hindi poems, Bund Bund Kavita and Lavankur. He continues to write poetry despite being the managing director of a large vegetable oil company, as he loves muktaks much more than selling the oil. So I would be reading basically 2 pieces. One which is the beginning of his book, Bund Bund Kavita, and one which is the ending of his book, Bund Bund Kavita, so we will get a perspective. Bund Bund Kavita. साहित्य के सागर में मेरी बूंद बूंद कविता, साहित्य के सागर में मेरी बूंद बूंद कविता, अगर सीपों के दिल में जाकर बस जाए तो मैं दुनिया से दिल खोल कर कह सकूंगा कि मैंने मोती को जन्म दिया है. In the vast ocean of literature, my minute drops of poetry, when embraced heartily by mother of pearl, that is connoisseurs of literature, can acclaim loudly to the whole world that the poetic gem is born. That was his introduction. So he wrote it as 20वीं सदी, that was 20th century. But then he rewrote it in English as 21st century. I will read both. 20वीं सदी, शांत निश्चल मौन खड़ा, विगत वैभव की स्मृतियों में खोया, यह खंडहर क्या इसे पहचानते हैं आप? धरती को स्वयं हमने बांटा है, चेतना पतझड़ का शिकार हो गई, पत्ते अभी भी पैरों के इर्द गिर्द बिखरे पड़े हैं, पर इन्हें जलाने तक के लिए कोई नहीं उठाता. झंझावात टूटी दीवारों पर अपना संदेश लिख गया है, मगर कोई पढ़ने वाला नहीं बचा. शोषण की अनंत सड़कों पर आबादी है, लोग इसी सड़क पर कतार बांधे चल रहे हैं. जनाजे का दृश्य पेश करता है यह जलूस, पर इसे जनाजे से शामिल हर एक मुर्दा प्रतीत होता है. शांत है शब्द, मरगर सा सन्नाटा व्याप्त है, शून्य में प्रश्न चिन्ह उभरता है, विषाक्त वायुमंडल सहसा जवाब दे उठता है, यह खंडहर देखो समय के भूकंप का अवशेष, 20वीं सदी का वास्तविक परिवेश. So he rewrote in English and then it was published in, I think, Straits Times, Malaysia. Saturnine, stationary and silent, lost in sweet dreams of yore, of glory long gone this ruin. Do you recognize it? With own hands did we not burn the trees? And now sanity lies withered among charred leaves. These leaves crowd around my legs, but we do not pick them up. They can't even be lighted for fire. The hurricane has left its message on broken walls, leaving no discerning survivors to read, comprehend and call. On the never-ending road of exploitation, there still is life. People follow this trail. It seems like a funeral procession with a difference. Everyone walking is a corpse. There is silence, the silence of a graveyard. Out of nowhere rises the question, who? The toxic atmosphere gives the answer, you. And then the question emerges, what? The noxious earth gives the answer, devastation and rot. 21st century preordained fate at the hands of man who chose to destroy what he cannot create.
What a thought.
I'm going to read something by Faiz Ahmed Faiz, mainly because he's one of the few modern Urdu poets that I know anything at all about, but also because he's a socialist. So it's a poem that was written during, I read this from the source, not from my own knowledge, during Zia-ul-Haq's reign, and it's a critique of basically of Islamization under Zia, and how idolatrous this was, rather than anything else. So, Faiz Ahmed Faiz, Hum Dekhenge. Hum dekhenge, lazim hai ke hum bhi dekhenge. वो दिन के जिसका वादा है, जो लौह-ए-अज़ल पे लिखा है. जब जुल्म और सितम के कोहे गरान, रूई की तरह उड़ जाएंगे. हम महकूमों के पौन तले, या धरती दर दरकेगी. और एली हुक्म के ऊपर जब बिजली खड़ के की, जब अर्ज़ी खुदा के खबे से सब बूट उठवाई जाएंगे. हम एली सफ़ा मरदूद हराम, मसनद पे बिठाई जाएंगे. सब ताज उछाले जाएंगे, सब तख़्त गिराए जाएंगे. बस नाम रहेगा अल्लाह का, जो गायब भी है हाज़िर भी, जो नज़ीर भी है मलज़ा भी. उठेगा अनाल का नारा, जो मैं भी हो और तुम भी हो. और राज करेगी कल की खुदा, जो मैं भी हो और तुम भी हो. हम देखेंगे, lazim hai ke hum bhi dekhenge. So the title of the song is, surprisingly enough, Hum Dekhenge, we will see. And the translation that I found goes as follows, and I will elaborate it slightly because I think it's really rather a bad translation. We will see, we will certainly also see, we will see that day which has been promised, the day that has been written in the divine tablet. We will see when the cruel mountains of injustice will blow away like cotton wool beneath the feet of us oppressed. This earth's heartbeat will pound, and above the heads of rulers lightning will crackle. We will see. From the cover of God's earth, all the idols will be lifted. We of the pure, who are labelled haram, on high cushions will we be seated. All crowns will be held up, all thrones will be brought down. We will see. The only name remaining will be that of Allah, who is both absent and present, who is the spectacle and the spectator. The cry, I am truth, will arise, of which I am a part, and so are you. And the creation of God will rule, of which I am a part, and so are you. We will see, certainly, we also will see. We will see.
Katyayani is actually her poetry is something I got introduced to quite late in life, I have to say. It was only when I was doing my PhD. I wish I had read her poetry as a student in school, because she's so inspiring. She was born in 1959 in UP. She writes in Hindi. She's how do I put it? She's an activist, a poet, a feminist. So this one is भाषा में छिप जाना स्त्री का. भाषा में छिप जाना स्त्री का. इसका शीर्षक है भाषा में छिप जाना स्त्री का. न जाने क्या सूझा एक दिन स्त्री को, खेल खेल में भागती हुई भाषा में समा गई, छिप कर बैठ गई. उस दिन तानाशाहों को नींद नहीं आई रात भर. उस दिन खेल न सके कविगण अग्निपिंड की मानिंद तपते शब्दों से. भाषा चुप रही सारी रात. रुद्र वीणा पर कोई प्रचंड राग बजता रहा. केवल बच्चे निर्भीक गलियों में खेलते रहे. I struggled a little bit with the translation. The woman hidden in language, or the woman hiding in language. Don't know what occurred to her one day, running about in jest playfully. She immersed herself in language and sat hidden. That day, the dictators got no sleep the whole night long. That day, the poet folk couldn't play with words scorching like fire. Language remained silent the whole night long. On the Rudra Veena, some furious raga played on. Only children, unafraid, kept playing on in the violins. स्त्री का सोचना एकांत में. So the translation for that would be a woman's quiet reflection. स्त्री का सोचना एकांत में. चैन की एक सांस लेने के लिए, चैन की एक सांस लेने के लिए स्त्री अपने एकांत को बुलाती है. एकांत को छूती है स्त्री, संवाद करती है उससे. एकांत को छूती है स्त्री, संवाद करती है उससे. जीती है, पीती है उसको चुपचाप. जीती है, पीती है उसको चुपचाप. एक दिन वह कुछ नहीं कहती अपने एकांत से. कोई भी कोशिश नहीं करती दुख बांटने की. कोई भी कोशिश नहीं करती दुख बांटने की, बस सोचती है. गौर कीजिए, बस सोचती है. जैसे ही वह सोचती है, एकांत में नतीजे तक पहुंचने से पहले ही खतरनाक घोषित कर दी जाती है. A woman's quiet reflection. To be able to take one breath of calm, woman beckons her solitude. Solitude, the woman touches, converses with it. She lives, she drinks it quietly. One day, she says nothing to her solitude, makes no effort to share her sorrow. She simply thinks. And as soon as she thinks in her solitude, before arriving at any resolution, she gets declared dangerous.
To you, a poem by Satyananda Gatsayan under the pseudonym Agaya or Arjunaya. He's one of my favorite modern Hindi poets and a pioneer of modern trends in the realm of both Hindi poetry, fiction and journalism. He is known as one of the most prominent exponents of the Nea Kavita new poetry movement and the Prayogvat movement, which is the experimentalism movement in Hindi literature. And I got introduced to him during my undergrad in Indian studies through his novels, which have drawn me to his poetry. And the poem that I'm going to read out, it's called Hiroshima, and it is his reflection on the events that ended the Second World War and dropping the atomic bomb in Japan. Един съвса суръч Никола, а рекшичиш пъннахи, на гъркичо. Дхубър си парантарикша нахи, фъркими тисе. Чаев ман в чанки, дишахин, събор пари. Во суръч нахи угад хап уръбме. Во бърса съвса, дичум ближ на гърки. Кар суре киретке, пахионке джон, а реклюткър бикхър гаехо, да съм дишаме. Kuch kshunka vo udai ast. Kevel et prajvalit kshunki, drishi sohlene vare dopuhi. Fir, chan manuk janki, nahimiti lambi hohokar, manuk ki subhap hogai. Chan to abhiri kihe, chunse hue padhurumpe, uchrisar konke gujpur. Manuk karachahua suraj, manuk kabhak, banakar sobgaya. Подхърпа леки хуи, ежели хуи чхая, манов кисахи hai. And the translation, which is not done by me, but by an actual poet. On this day the sun appeared, no, not slowly over the horizon, but right in the city square. A blast of dazzle poured over, not from the middle sky, but from the earth torn raggedly open. Human shadows, dazed and lost, pitched, in every direction displaced, not risen from the east, smashing the city's heart. An immense wheel of death swart, some cars spinning down and apart in every direction. Instant of a sun's rise and set, vision annihilating flare, one compressed moon. And then, it was not human shadows that lengthened, paled and died, it was men, suddenly become as mist and gone. The shadows they, burnt rocks, stones of these vacant streets, a sun conjured by men, converted men to air, to nothing. White shadows cinch on the black rock, give back man's witness to himself. That was it.
But I have chosen a poet who writes both in Marathi and English, and therefore going to read his poems that he has originally written in English. His name is Arun Kolatkar. Arun Kolatkar is considered one of the foremost modernist Indian poet, not just modernist Maharashtrian poet. And his poetry collection called Jesuri got the Commonwealth Writers Award in 1977. Jesuri is an amazing set of 31 poems about a small town called Jesuri, which is a temple town in Maharashtra. It's an hour's distance from the place where I live, Pune. Kolatkar himself goes here, and the poetic persona is, well, that of a skeptic, a non-believer, but still a person who is intrigued with ethnographic, perhaps a touristic curiosity about this place. And the poems, although he doesn't hope to meet God, the place does reveal to him certain secrets, and there is a charm that the place exercises on him. So here goes. The first poem I'm reading is Heart of the Ruin. The roof comes down on Maruti's head. Maruti is the Marathi name for the god Hanuman. The roof comes down on Maruti's head. Nobody seems to mind. Least of all Maruti himself. Maybe he likes a temple better this way. A mongrel bitch has found a place for herself and her puppies in the heart of the ruin. Maybe she likes a temple better this way. The bitch looks at you guardedly, past a doorway cluttered with broken tiles. The pariah puppies tumble over her. Maybe they like the temple better this way. The black-haired puppy has gone a little too far. A tile clicks under its foot. It's enough to strike terror in the heart of a dung beetle and send him running for cover to the safety of the broken collection box that never did get a chance to get out from under the crushing weight of the roof beam. No more a place of worship, this is nothing than the house of God. And the second poem is called Old Woman. An old woman grabs hold of your sleeve and tags along. She wants a 50 paisa coin. She says she will take you to the horseshoe shrine. You've seen it already. She hobbles along anyway and tightens her grip on your shirt. She won't let you go. You know how old women are. They stick to you like a burr. You turn around and face her with an air of finality. You want to end the farce. When you hear her say, "What else can an old woman do on hills as wretched as these?" You look right at the sky, clear through the bullet holes she has for her eyes. And as you look on, the cracks that begin around her eyes spread beyond her skin, and the hills crack, and the temples crack, and the sky falls with a plate glass clatter around the shatterproof crone who stands alone. And you are reduced to so much small change in her hand.
I'm going to recite some poems of Dushyant. Dushyant Kumar was one of the very famous poets during between 1960s to 1975. He died young, and in his 42-year lifespan, he wrote some remarkable poems, some really passionate, revolutionary poems. Some of them have been adopted in some of the films. So when I was in high school, I was really motivated by Ghalib. And then I came across Dushyant. And I realized there is a lot of similarity between Dushyant and Ghalib. Both of them, they express pain, they express misery. But there is one difference. While Ghalib talks about his own pain, Dushyant talks about pain of the masses. Dushyant talks about people. Dushyant talks about poor people and expresses his pain through his poetry. So he says, "तू किसी रेल सी गुजरती है, मैं किसी पुल सा थरथराता हूँ." You just pass by me like a fast train. तू किसी रेल सी गुजरती है, मैं किसी पुल सा, मैं किसी फूल सा थरथराता हूँ. एक जंगल है तेरी आँखों में, एक जंगल है तेरी आँखों में. One unexplored forest is in your eyes. मैं जहाँ राह भूल जाता हूँ. मैं तुझे भूलने की कोशिश में, in my effort to forget you, मैं तुझे भूलने की कोशिश में आज कितने करीब पाता हूँ. In my effort to forget you, I always end up coming closer to you. So this is one of his very few romantic or romanticized poems. And second poem is where he talks about injustice and restlessness of poor. कहाँ वो तय था चारगाह हर घर के लिए, कहाँ चराग मयस्सर नहीं शहर के लिए. Where it was certain that every house will get light or lamp, where lamps are not even enough for the city. यहाँ दरख्तों के साए में धूप लगती है, चलो यहाँ से चले उम्र भर के लिए. Here, even in the shadows, you can feel the sun. Let's move to some other place for life. ना हो कमीज तो घुटनों से पेट ढक लेंगे. ना हो कमीज तो घुटनों से पेट ढक लेंगे. ये लोग कितने मुनासिब हैं इस सफर के लिए. If no clothes, then they cover their belly by their knees. These people are so appropriate for this journey. खुदा नहीं ना सही, आदमी का ख्वाब ही सही. खुदा नहीं ना सही, आदमी का ख्वाब ही सही. कोई हंसी नजारा तो है नजर के लिए. It's okay if there is no God. There is a dream, imagination of the man at least. There is a pretty sight for eyes at least.
Although we may call her a lost and forgotten star from 1920s, 30s and 40s, from an unknown galaxy, but Shampurna Devi was a home-groomed feminist and a poet. Shampurna was the younger sister of Gyanpith Award winner Literature Ashapurna Devi. Tagore appreciated their effort. Shampurna stopped publishing her creations in the end of 1940s, but never stopped creating her gems. My alter ego. Today, I complete 30 years of life. Family needs me in varied walks. Husband, sons, relatives depend on me for their full set of household chores, which are infinite in number. Accounting them will only increase the volume of pages. Since morning till night, I never give up. Never get my space of mind and soul. Rest comes for me in midnight. I introspect my life and find out that woman is my alter ego, who lost her laughter and emotion. In those dark nights, those past laughter and cries crowd inside my soul. Husband sleeps deeply. In my lonely eye, challenges about my life. Is there any meaning of this life? Where am I heading? Where shall I stop? Why do I eternally walk round and round the same circumference? Looking at the distant sky, I can only see an unsuccessful woman standing across the sky. I feel inconsolably sad, cry at the thought of my imagined death. In contrast to Shampurna Devi, Kamala Das looms large not only over the poetic horizon of southern Malabar in Kerala, but in whole of India. Kamala Das, who was known for her exceptional life, always touched issues of sexuality in general, and especially about women's sex, which are still forbidden and considered as taboos. Her strong longing for a different life always attracted me. Her writings always have kept me on tenterhooks. I agree with the notion that her poems are mischievously enigmatic, and at the same time, they can be either nothing but truth or just a wish-fulfilling fantasy in an altered life, as described by K. Sachidananda in the preface of My Story by Kamala Das. Kamala Das's poem, My Grandmother's House. There is a house now far away where once I received love. The woman died. The house withdrew into silence. Snakes moved among books. I was then too young to read, and my blood turned cold like the moon. How often I think of going there to peer through blind eyes of windows, or just to listen to the frozen air, or in the wild despair, pick an armful of darkness to bring it here to lie. Behind my bedroom door, like a brooding dog, you cannot believe, darling. Can you, that I lived in such a house and was proud and loved? I, who have lost my way and beg now at strangers' door to receive love, at least in small changes?
Come play with me, it's Holi. Tell me you won't play, and I'll pelt you anyway, with colors that will stay with you all day. For today is Holi. You are the girl that didn't care to throw a glance at me. I am the boy that didn't dare to ask you to dance with me. But today I'm out with my gang, drenched with color, drunk with bhang. I am your Krishna come to play, your friends my gopis who will spray me with color, for today is Holi. And you, my Radha, cannot stay inside. The spring sky calls, come play outside. With colored water do not hide, for today is Holi. Upset the colored powder mounds in clouds of purple, pink and green. Let your chunni swirl around, join your bangled hands with mine. It's true, I do not have a flute or peacock feathers on my head. I only know the Bombay hits and have a cricket cap instead, which I will throw at your feet and dance the bhangra to the beat. As we sway our hips today to the dholki's frenzied beat. Rhythmic shoulders, clapping hands, faces streaked and colored strands. Sari sprayed, kurta stained, friends doused, strangers drained. From pistons, buckets, balconies, street corners, terraces and trees, till the wall you tried to build crumbles down against my will. I'll touch your face and arms with color that disarms you for one day of abandon. So let us